Hi, I'm Michael Polozola with the LSU AgCenter, and today I'd like to visit with you about bare root strawberries. Bare roots are going to be the most economical and common way to start your strawberry plants. Ideally, we like to start them in October or in the fall because it gives them the winter to get established, and then they'll have a head start for spring, and that makes a big difference in them tolerating our hot temperatures in the summer if you're trying to grow them perennially. So if you can, try to get them in the fall. There's going to be some cases though, some varieties where you won't be able to get them till the spring. Just give those extra care, and if possible, give them a little bit of shade in the summer to help them in that first year of establishment. But let's take a look at this bare root. So this pile here is going to be what your average bare root's going to look like having ordered it in. They grow it in a substrate where it's real easy to get it out, generally very sandy, and not a lot of soil or substrate on here. That makes it real easy for us to get it planted. Ideally, you want to kind of fan these roots out a little bit so that they can get better established. But if you're going to do that, go ahead and make certain when you're planting it that you have an avenue to make the best of it. Don't just fan them out and then end up collapsing them again when you're planting. If you're doing a lot, you may not want to fan out each individual root system. Depending on the quality, it may not be needed, but it's just a good tip to give you better establishment and success. We are going to want to look and identify where our crowns are, especially at planting, which we will look at in just a minute, to make certain we don't plant them too deep. And this is what your average bare root though is going to look like, where the leaves have been trimmed off. We can see where it's new one is coming out from the crown, and it has a good root system. Some nurseries you may get them from pre-pruned at the bottom, but if you're ordering them online, most of them are not going to do that. The main advantage of them being pruned at the bottom like this is if you want to start them in a 4-inch pot to move them later, it makes it easier to fit it in the pot and helps them in that establishment. But I prefer planting in my containers to leave that root system intact rather than pruning it. But let's take a look over here. Occasionally you may get bare roots that look like this. In some cases it may be from this producer may have separated crowns out and they left the leaves intact. Now they only left one, and I'm going to be okay with leaving that in. They also shipped it, since they're a little bit more fresh, more moist. You can see where these were wrapped in this, and they also had this water retention gel. If you see this in there, don't think it's a pathogen issue. This is just something that was included in there to help keep your bare roots moist. Now that is a trick. If these do dry down a little bit, you may want to put them in a plastic bag with a wet paper towel, a little moisture to help them rehydrate. These are not dried down too bad. I'll go ahead and plant them as they are. These arrived fresh and well hydrated. They're definitely ready to be planted right away, and hopefully we'll get a little bit head start just by having this little bit. But you'll probably pay extra for someone who took the time to package these individually like that, a good bit more than this one in particular. So now let's go look into planting. So you just saw sped up me planting this tower full of bare root strawberries. Now we saw where I watered them in between, and I fanned out the roots in between plantings. I went ahead and filled this top reservoir up with water as well, just to make certain that they're all well hydrated. And I will continue to check the pockets of these to make certain there aren't any dry spots and that we get good establishment. And doesn't look quite like we would want to planting plants, but that's okay. So when we're looking here, we have an intermix of new planted bare roots, which I did about a week and a half ago, and some established plants that I had in here already, all of the same variety. And you can see that they, even in that week and a half, start putting in leaves fairly quickly. So even though it looks discouraging to start, kind of gray, no leaves, they will push out and eventually will make plants this size. Now, some varieties, if you're able to start like this last year and carry them through, would even be making fruit right now. And that's ultimately a long-term goal, what I want to do with my strawberries. But sometimes they're better suited for annual production depending on which variety. But don't be discouraged starting with a bare root. They will grow fairly quickly and get you a good start if you're starting from your standard one that doesn't have that first leaf showing. So let's visit a second about fertilization with these. For these small bare roots, they're not going to be very heavy feeders at the moment. And I don't want to put a whole bunch of fertilizer there they're not going to use. As they get a few more leaves on it, strawberries do tend to be heavy feeders and I want to fertilize a little bit more often. Now these here that are flowering and fruiting, I am going to want to hit with fertilizer. Not something too heavy on the nitrogen, a well balanced to help encourage more fruit and flowering. This tower is going to be a bit tricky because I have both going at the same time. This has been Michael Polozola with the LSU AgCenter.